Hello, people. How's it going? Yes, it's another day in Minnesota. And in the frozen north. But actually, today is kind of mild considering how cold it was all last week. Anyway, this is not a criticism, okay? So I'm not attacking anybody because I wouldn't attack anybody anyway. What is the point of BookTube exactly? I mean, I know it's to people who like to read books and they interchange and they talk and they discuss books and they connect with each other and so on and so forth. And I'm not saying that I could do better at it, 'cause I'm pretty sure I could. I mean, I have my favorites, YouTube channels I like, BookTube channels I like. I like Criminale, I like Michael K. Vaughan, I like Nerdy Narrative. There are a few others whose names I don't remember right now because that's how it works when you're 60. I like BookTube, I like discussing things. I think part of my problem, or I should say part of my problem, the problem is with me is about, I'm going to say 90%. 90% of what I read is nonfiction. History, biographies, science, theology, philosophy, you name it. If it's nonfiction, I will probably read it at least once. Particularly if it's history. I love history. Biographies, history. I don't read a lot of fiction. Not because I don't like it, because I do actually like fiction. It just isn't on my top tier of things to read constantly. I mean, I can tell you the last book I finished on nonfiction was on short stories, and it was this one. Actually, it's a very good book, by the way. Actually, it's a short three short stories. Japanese. I love Japanese literature. Japanese short stories, Japanese novels. Most of their short stories. I do enjoy Japanese literature very much. I lived there for 2 years. It's a great country. I love its history, its food, its people, and its literature. The House of Sleeping Beauties is a good story, actually. I mean, it's a good short story about growing old and looking back on life and looking back on the regrets and looking back on what you've done and the people who've entered your life and growing older. And it's actually a very good book. Very good short story, I should say. The other stories in this book, if I remember correctly, One Arm and Birds and Beasts. If I remember correctly, I liked the Birds and Beasts. It was not too bad. One Arm, I don't remember reading. Probably, if I don't remember it, I probably didn't read it. But this book, this short story, the House of Sleeping Beauties, I enjoy. There are very few short stories I don't enjoy. That's part of my problem. Always my way I see things is I don't read a lot of novels. One of which is it takes too long. I also don't think I have the patience for it. Because if I do read a novel, it really has to grip me within the first few chapters. If it doesn't grip me within the first few chapters, I can't finish it. I am one of those people who, if the book cannot keep my interest, I will not finish it. I know there are some people who can't not finish a book when they start it. That's fine. I'm not one of those people. And the other novel I did start reading is Dostoevsky. I like Dostoevsky. He is my favorite Russian writer of novels, of longer stories. Chekhov is my favorite short story writer as a Russian. But I am going to start reading this pretty soon. But anyway. But the other 20-something odd books on my shelf, my desk, my table right here, all the stuff I'm reading right now, which is about 27 books of various subjects. But that's kind of the problem, or kind of how it goes. I don't read a lot of fiction. I should say I don't read a lot of it. The problem is I like nonfiction more than I like fiction. And BookTube is more about nonfiction than fiction. No, got that backwards. BookTube, at least as far as I can find so far, is about not fiction. It's about stories and novels and things that just people have written. And the contradiction is, I like reading the biographies and autobiographies of these writers who've written all these things. I'm almost more interested in the biographies of fiction writers. I mean, I find them almost more interesting than what they wrote, which is probably why I don't read a lot of what their stuff is, because I'm so fascinated by their lives and so fascinated by why they wrote it. And a lot of times when I am reading a biography, it will get me to read their book. And it does happen. I mean, I'm not, as I keep saying, my problem is very simple. I like nonfiction more than I like fiction. BookTube is more for people who like fiction and less nonfiction. It's not BookTube's fault. I like BookTube. I would like to get more involved in it. I'd like to have more connection with some people on BookTube. I would like more interactions, so at least give me some motivation to read more fiction than nonfiction, or at least to counterbalance it more. Because I'm serious when I say about 10% of what I read is fiction. I read lots of short stories, and if we were to actually take the percentage on the fiction part, I probably read about 75% short stories and about 25% novels/plays. I love plays. Anyway, it's not that I don't like. A lot of it is my own problem. Is I don't have the patience, and I should, because I like reading. But if the story doesn't grip me within the first at least 3 chapters, if there isn't something about the story that I liked, or at least intrigues me, or a grain of interest, I can't finish it. I'm sorry. I mean, I like reading. I always like reading. I wish I were better at it. I wish I could. I guess what I'm really trying to do is I wish I liked fiction on the same level I like nonfiction. I just don't. I think it's too much. I'm too much of a historian. I'm too much into theology and philosophy and the actual real things of life. And yes, I know short and fiction is about those things. I think I'm too much of a. What's the word I'm thinking of? I don't know what the words I'm thinking of, but I'm sure there's a word for crazy people. I mean, I could show you this table that has all these books on it, and pretty much all of them except 2 are fiction or non-fiction. Oh, I'm going to get that right. Keep getting the 2 of them mixed up. I'm tired. It's been a long. It's only Monday, and I'm very tired. I didn't sleep very well, so I'm very tired, and I'm a little goofy. I mean, I wish I could have better connections with people on BookTube. I wish I could have better conversations with better people on BookTube. I wish that I could. I mean, BookTube in a lot of ways. And Michael K. Vaughan's thing did get me to read Robert E. Howard. I never would have read Robert E. Howard if he wasn't so enthusiastic and so just goofy and wonderfully fun to watch when he talks about Robert E. Howard and Edgar Rice Burroughs. I wouldn't have read any of those either. I mean, I got into reading those authors because he talked about them so interjectically and so enthusiastically and with such fun and gusto. I wouldn't have read anything of those people. I don't have that enthusiasm, I think. Might be part of my problem. I'm not a very enthusiastic guy in front of a camera. Get me off the camera, I'm fine. Just ask most people who know me. I'm not this complacent, and I'm not this, what's the word I'm thinking of? Well, anyway. But, I guess I'm trying to figure out what is the point of BookTube if it's not really accomplishing anything that I wish it would accomplish. And does it really owe me anything? No, it doesn't owe me anything. BookTube owes me nothing. I mean, it can only do so much, and I can only do so much. It's up to me to make BookTube work for me. BookTube doesn't do things for other people. But it is about connecting with people. At least it's supposed to be. And it's about talking about books and things with other people, which it's supposed to be. I mean, is it my personality? I don't know. I don't. My personality is a little more subdued when I'm on the camera than when I'm off it. The camera is still very. Well, one, I'm sitting down, so I really can't do everything I normally do. Because when I'm standing up and talking, my arms are all over the place, and I walk around and blah blah blah. I'm more demonstrative when I'm not sitting down. But I like books. It shouldn't be this difficult. I like reading. It shouldn't be that difficult. Reading more fiction should not be this difficult. Now, granted, I might think my interest when it comes to fiction might be part of the problem. I mean, I like the classics. And when I mean classics, I mean classics. Just because Penguin calls them a classic doesn't make them a classic. But because they're on Penguin Classic, I will read it because it looks interesting. If it looks interesting, whether I think it's a real classic or not, I will read it. Okay? I mean, I don't know if H.P. Lovecraft deserves to be in Penguin Classics, but he certainly deserves better than anything. I mean, I like H.P. Lovecraft. I discovered him late in my life. I think I was in my 40s when I finally discovered him. And I do like his stuff. I do like H.P. Lovecraft. I think his stuff is weird and just bizarre and wonderful. I mean, Robert E. Howard, I only really started reading him because of Michael. I find Robert E. Howard a very interesting guy. I almost find him more interesting than I find his books. And the thing is, I'm not into Conan as much as Michael is. He loves Conan. I get it. Conan's a great character. He is He-Man, but more dangerous and more violent. I like Robert E. Howard's horror stories, horror and supernatural tales. Those are the stories I like about him. When it comes to Edgar Rice Burroughs, I've read only one novel so far of his Tarzan, and that was the very first one. I only have two of his books anyway of Tarzan, that one and At the Earth's Core. The funny thing is, I like At the Earth's Core, his book, and I like his Land that Time Forgot, and I like his People that Time Forgot. I've read one book of the Mars series, all very good, but I never would have read them without, Michael's influence, and I'm thankful for that, and I'm grateful for that. And I wish I could be more enthusiastic about that. Am I boring? I mean, it's possible. People tell me I'm not, but then again, I'm not usually just sitting here. I think the dynamic of sitting here is part of my problem. I'm too self-conscious of it. But I like listening to these other book YouTubers, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, what am I doing wrong and what am I doing right? I mean, I know that I'm not the best speaker around, believe me. I'm a better writer than a talker. Oh, yeah. Need new glasses. Badly. Anyway, I'm not the best talker. I really don't even like talking sometimes. I'm one of those people, I'm an introvert, and I mean an extreme introvert, which might be part of the problem. Even doing this, I'm still an introvert, yet I'm the only person here. Oh, excuse me again. Root beer and tea do not mix. Oh, excuse me again. Oh, I'm tired. It's also been a very long, this has been a tough January. But this has been one of those Januaries where it cannot get done fast enough. But anyway, I keep going on track. I would like to make BookTube work. I'd like to be able to be, I think sitting here, I'm too self-conscious of the fact that I'm sitting here talking, looking at myself, talking to myself. Because that's what it's like. I wish, if there are other BookTubers who watch this, tell me something. Just tell me whether you like it, you didn't like it, I could do this, I could do that. Recommend something. I'm always looking for people who keep hitting that thing. I really, I really am easy to talk to, which I think I am. Just open your mouth and words come out. But I mean, I am more of a non-fiction guy. I just am. I always have been. I've always been a more non-fiction guy. I like nonfiction. I like history. History is my number one subject. Science and biographies and literature. I like literature. When it comes to literature, I almost read more biographies and autobiographies than the actual stuff they wrote. I mean, it sounds weird. I mean, it is why I read a lot more Robert E. Howard, because I read his biography. And, anyway, I don't want to go too long today. Crack. I want you, look, you know what I just want somebody, I keep asking for comments, and I keep asking for people to say something. I am easy to talk to. I am easy to tell things to. If you are a YouTuber, I will listen to you because you are a YouTuber like I am. I am not that complicated. I'm not. I'm very simple. I'm a very easy, uncomplicated genius when it comes to writing. When it comes to talking, I'm a rambling idiot. But anyway. I'm sorry, I got distracted by the weather. It's a nice day today. Anyway. But anyway, I don't want to go much longer. I want to, I don't know. I just, I wish I were better at discussing the books I read. As I keep saying repeatedly, I'm a better writer than a talker. I can write down what I'm thinking better. And maybe I should. Maybe I should write down everything I want to say and just sit here and read that. That just sounds just formulaic and boring, but maybe that's what I need to do. At least until I get more comfortable, I suppose. Because I don't mind doing this. I mean, I don't know whether it's worth it a whole lot at the end, but I don't mind doing it. I mean, it's not the most important part of my life, but I don't dislike it. As I keep saying, I wish people would comment. I wish people would either subscribe, like, or share. At least comment. You don't have to like. You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to share. But at least comment would be nice. That's kind of all I really want, though, at the moment. I just want people to comment and say, look, do this, do that. You do too much of this. You do too much of that. Do more of this. Something. I don't mind critiquing. I don't mind critiquing from fellow YouTubers or criticism from fellow YouTubers. I don't take it from people who don't do this because they don't do this and they just want to criticize. Believe me, I've run into them. But sorry, I'm easily distracted by things outside. There's 2 cats that wander around there. I know I'm distracting myself. Let's see what else. But yeah, this is a very good book. I mean, I got into Japanese literature in Florida when I lived there. But this is a very good short story, House of Sleeping Beauties. It is actually a very good story about growing old and regrets and memories and people. It is an interesting story. It won the Pulitzer Prize, Pulitzer. An erotic masterpiece by the 1968 Nobel laureate. First Japanese author to do so. Anyway. Oh well. Anyway. Behave yourselves, people, because you know I'm not going to. Please, as I've always said, like, subscribe, comment, share. Mostly comment, please. I will see you later when I talk again. Later.